Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody. The podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraising events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I'm excited to have two really fun special guests on. So we have Michelle Frankfort, who is the lead philanthropy advisor of special events, and Julia TenHoeve, who is the ambassadors manager, and both of them are with Texas Children's Hospital. And they have a wonderful golf tournament coming up called the Texas Children's Legacy Golf Classic in Austin. So I've had a lot of requests for a golf tournament podcast segment. And the reason I haven't done one is I've been waiting for the right organization to do it. And Texas Children's does golf tournaments as well, if not better than anyone else, certainly in Texas, if not the entire country. So we are really lucky to have the perspective of these folks because they have not only the Golf Classic in Austin, but they also have one in Houston as well. So we're going to dive into all things golf tournament and, connecting, using it as a vehicle to connect with your donors. So we're really thrilled to have them, and I'm excited for this segment. So with that, Michelle, Julia, welcome. And I'm just so thrilled you're both here today.
Thank you so much. We're thrilled to be here and represent Texas Children's Hospital and to be on the podcast.
Yes, thank you for having us. We're really excited.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to have you both. So, Julia, share with our listeners what the mission of Texas Children's Hospital is.
Sure. So, Texas Children's Hospital, our real mission is to create a healthier future for women and children in Texas and around the world. Texas Children's Hospital started in Houston, Texas, in the Texas Medical Center, and over our over 70-year history have really had the opportunity to grow to West Houston, the Woodlands, and then opened just over 2 years ago our hospital in Austin, Texas. So now with 4 main campuses and a real global footprint with some global hope programs that we have around the world, really trying to create that healthier future, treating the tiniest of babies in our NICU, and of course, helping our mothers that we have labor and delivery here at Texas Children's as well. So trying to really create an incredible future for them and helping them along their journey.
Absolutely. And it's great to have such world-class medical care. And I was fortunate, Dr. Schultz gave me a tour not too long ago of your Austin campus. And, while, I know Julia mentioned the piece about, infants and children, they really do service people all the way up to 18. Like I remember he took me into kind of the gym that you all have. And there were definitely teenagers in there. They were not, I think a couple of them were even taller than me that were doing rehab stuff. So, you do the whole range of the children, a children's journey, which, I really appreciate about you all.
Absolutely. And really treating that child, all the way through. They're making sure that it sounds like you were in our orthopedic gym, which is an incredible brand new gym in Austin. But really making sure that any of those kids are taken care of, whether the subspecialties range from anything from our cancer center to our neonatal intensive care units to endocrinology to orthopedics, really running the gamut of anything that those kids might need and the parents that want to support their kids have access to.
Fantastic. Very well said. It really, you all really do incredible work. And I kind of want to shift the next question. And I'm going to have each of you answer this because it's always I'm always fascinated by this. So Michelle, we'll start with you, but share how you initially got involved with this organization and what made you, decide to plant career roots at Texas Children's, because everyone's journey to an organization it's very different.
Oh, yes. So for the more than 20 years, I've actually been a patient family here at Texas Children's. I've got 2 kids who transitioned from pediatric care all the way up to now the women's clinic as older young adults. And I spent most of my career on the corporate side, doing events,
doing all kinds of events,
doing all kinds of events,
corporately, like your Houston
very,
Open.
very corporate. And I just decided that I really wanted to align myself with a more mission-driven organization. And when this opportunity became available, I jumped on it, and I have had the most incredible experience here. We have the best teams. We have an incredible mission. It's the greatest place to work.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you get up and doing this. And just so you know, we're doing this podcast at 8:30 in the morning. So, and they're in the office and they were at a gala last night. That goes to show how committed and how much these two love this organization. So, Julia, tell me about your path to this organization and, what's made you decide to plant career roots here.
Absolutely. Mine is a little different than Michelle's. That in 2013, my husband found out that we were being transferred to Houston. So not originally from the Houston area. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and my parents were always involved in the Children's Hospital back in St. Louis. So when he was transferred here, I had the opportunity to interview on the special events team in 2013 and really got a love of Texas Children's as an employee starting over 13 years ago. Spent 4 years in the special event space, planning golf tournaments, planning galas. Actually did all the opening events for our Woodlands campus and really got to see a lot of the mission come to fruition as we had huge expansions. So, I mean, incredible to be able to see our square footage grow, the patient encounters grow, and really, I mean, actively being in the center of watching more women and children get treated and get the things that they need as the needs grew throughout our community. In 2017, I decided to go and lead special events and client engagement for a large bank. Spent about 5 years there, and then was traveling quite a bit with that organization, and had the opportunity to come back. So my old boss at Texas Children's, who's both leads Michelle and my team, called me and said, "I know it sounds like you're taking a little bit of a step away from work. Any chance you'd want to come back to the hospital?" And I cried. I had two beautiful children at the pavilion for women, was now a patient myself. My children were patients, and it was a serendipitous, I can't believe I got this call. I can't believe that that this all worked together. And she asked if I wanted to lead the ambassadors program, which really kind of married my love of event planning and my love of donor relations and being able to build those relationships and teach more people about the great work that's happening at Texas Children's. And truly, I came back and got my dream job.
That's incredible. So let me ask you a follow-up question because it's always interesting to me when people leave and come back because it can be really intimidating because I think a lot of people, when they leave a job and come back, they think it's going to be, they left on Friday and came back Monday and everything's the same. And it's not because with a period of time, staffs change, leadership changes. What advice would you give to somebody, when you're going back, like what's one thing they should really kind of do to get reacclimated and understand that, you weren't gone a weekend, you were gone a period of months or years?
Absolutely. I would say stay curious throughout everything, asking questions, finding out where things change. Yes, you might have a wealth of knowledge, but that knowledge the organization hopefully has moved forward. Ours certainly did in the 5 years that I was gone. And I had a lot of historical knowledge. I knew about the roots of the hospital and the mission, but wonderfully areas, physicians, the care that we had changed. Also, technology had changed like crazy, which wonderfully was learning some of that from the corporate world. But internally in the hospital, the way that people are communicating was different. The way that we were interacting and learning about more patient stories was different. So being really curious in that and saying, not acting like where you left off from that Friday to Monday, as you had said, Rob, but really coming in and asking a lot of questions of what has changed, being a resource for those past things, certainly. And I rely very frequently on my past knowledge of things that had happened here from 2013 to 2017. But the amount that the hospital had advanced while I was gone was, I mean, truly remarkable, and glad to be a part of it current day.
Incredible. And that just kind of goes to show things do move fast. So it's kind of like it can feel like you're slipping right in, but it's like there's just lots of things environmentally that can shift and change. And we've been talking quite a bit about roots, and I want to direct this next question to Michelle. So, when Texas Children's was looking to expand, what made them choose Austin over maybe another Texas city as you expand your footprint throughout the state?
Yeah, so there was a growing need for that specialized pediatric care in Central Texas. And as Austin continues to grow, more families are looking to have access to that level of care. We would get a lot of people traveling to Houston from the Central Texas area. And so for us to be able to create that experience in Austin with the same matched level of expertise, we have all the top specialists. We serve Austin and that greater community, and it really just allows us to serve the families who need our care.
You know, I'm glad. Oh, go ahead, Julia.
I think one thing on that too, as Michelle and I kind of frequently talk about, it's so great for those families to have an additional choice. We want for all of Central Texas and to be able to say, here is just another resource for you, an area where you can go to get additional experts, that access to the other campuses, and be able to have that as a resource for them, I think is always a win for any families that can be impacted by that.
And because of how we're located, we are able to serve such a tremendous area. We also have specialized vehicles that can go out and pick up kids in remote areas that need emergency services. We've got a helicopter, a plane, ambulances, and really positioned to serve the needs of the state and beyond.
You know, I'm really glad that you mentioned the piece about, having additional care because, and I've lived in Austin 22 years and it's kind of grown from a city to a metropolis in that point. And, when you're a metropolis, you need multiple things. And like the thing about Houston in particular is I can't count on one hand the number of world-class medical facilities you all have. I would have to go to two hands. And I think that just kind of goes to show as, a city grows more, a rising tide lifts all boats is really kind of what I feel with that. So I'm really glad that you all have planted roots in this, in the Austin community. And Michelle, I want to ask this question, then Julie, I want you to chime in on it as well, just from your background. But that is, what is one thing an organization really needs to do when they're looking to expand into a new market? Because a lot of organizations, they think about it and they can sometimes struggle with that.
Sure. You really have to take the time to understand the community that you are entering. You need to listen to the needs of the local families, engage with local leadership, find out what already exists and how you can layer into that and enhance what the needs are. It's not just about taking your brand and putting it into another city. It's about really becoming part of the city, engaging with the city. We're not a Houston hospital that's operating in Austin. We are an Austin hospital that is operating in Austin. We're a Texas hospital that is operating in Texas. And we've really found that we've had a lot of tremendous relationship growth because we are committed to really putting the roots in Austin and becoming part of the community.
Very, very well said. And Julia, I'd love your perspective as a fellow person who grew up outside of Texas and wound up there like myself.
Absolutely. I mean, really to echo what Michelle was saying, it's understanding the community. I mean, from a philanthropy standpoint, you cannot take a Houston event and put that in an Austin market. That doesn't work. That's not understanding your community. We have been joking on the event side that in Houston, if you don't have valet, you are not running an event. And in Austin, if you have valet, they're like, what are you doing? So really is as simple as things of understanding how people park, how people go to events, how people dress for them. Yes, exactly. So it is, understanding the areas of town, understanding those families. And if you're looking at in Houston, you can say, yes, that might still be in Houston, but it could take you an hour to get there. Truly understanding how people are living, working, engaging in that city is so important to the philanthropic side. And I really think that we just as a hospital had seen so much care where people that lived in Austin had to travel to Houston for a specific type of care. And so really on the clinical side, it's meeting that need where they are. And then from a philanthropic side, being able to show the now metropolis of Austonians how much care that they can really get in Austin from having their own hospital there. So I think it's I think that expansion is learning about the community, as Michelle had said, and then meeting people where they are. How do they receive events? Talking to people. We do tons of coffees and lunches, and I would say, can I just pick your brain? Let's have coffee. Let's go to your favorite spot. I want to learn about Austin. Why is this coffee shop so great? What's the history here? And truly kind of walking where the people from that city walk and eat and hang out.
Very, very well said. And speaking of people, I want to, do a follow-up question with you, Julia, about the ambassadors program, because, talk a little bit about what that is and how it's an important part of the overall organizational fundraising community engagement strategy of TCH.
Absolutely. So, Ambassadors for Texas Children's Hospital is a membership program where we have annual and lifetime members that donate for one cause each year, which makes this program really unique. We started the program in Houston in 2009 and then launched in Austin about 4 years ago. Each year, anybody that comes into that program on an annual or lifetime basis fundraises for one area. This year, we are fundraising for the Kangaroo Crew. So our helicopters, our ambulances, our fixed wing airplane that can go and pick up patients as well. And we really dive in on the patients that will get a really, really big impact from that funding. Previous years have been our behavioral health, the intensive outpatient program. We've fundraised for our wonderful furry friends in Positive Play to get more therapy dogs in the hospital and be able to expand that program. We've also done nursing innovation. We each early summer of each year, we do an evaluation process and find out where there's a real need for philanthropic support. And then together, those ambassadors come together to rally and be able to make an impact in a very concerted, larger way to be able to pool all of their gifts together. Once people are part of the ambassadors program, they really get to enjoy a plethora of events. I kind of think about them in three areas of: we celebrate together with family fun days and holiday parties. We educate ourselves together throughout the year. We do educational events, learning about different areas of the hospital. Incredibly, this year we had the opportunity, because we were fundraising for Kangaroo Crew, to actually take donors and our ambassadors up in a helicopter to be able to go in and do a tour, be able to see what it's like to be a patient in a helicopter. So some really behind the scenes, unique opportunities in that education area. And then we make an impact together. So we volunteer together and build boredom buster kits for kids that we bring to bedside, and really just trying to make a kid feel like a kid again. So really bringing those, there are about 1,700 people in the ambassadors program, and growing for all of our campuses in Greater Houston and the Central Texas area.
Well, that's so impressive. And it perfectly dovetails into the next question, which I have for Michelle. And that is 1,700 people. Obviously, you can't do the year-round events with 1,700 people, so it's, and you all have so many different types of events. You've got the golf tournament, the Evening with Legends that was last night, your fashion show. I know you recently did that 2-night chef's dinner. So, I mean, there's lots of different things that you all are doing. You have a very large fundraising presence. So what advice would you give to an organization to effectively segment and target donor giving and sponsorship so that they don't burn out? Because you all really do have kind of a year-round event cycle.
I think the most important thing is you really need to be intentional. So there are no two events that are the same. There are no two service lines that are the same. There are no two donors that are the same, sponsors. What is important to the sponsor? What is aligning with their mission? What is important to the donor? We have donors that care about employee engagement or visibility. They care about how it aligns with their corporate values. All of our events typically center around a specific service line. So one of the golf tournaments we do in Houston supports our NICU families. So we engage with donors and sponsors who love golf, but also are drawn towards supporting the NICU, and they see the importance of that. And the same with our corporate supporters. And so we never want to just be asking to like support the event. We want it to be meaningful. We want to invite you for a tour. We want you to engage with a patient family. We want you to see and hear about the impact that your support can bring. And I mean, even just from a technical standpoint, we thoughtfully look at how we send out communications so that we do not have someone receiving 7 invitations from us on the same day. And so that speaks to the intentionality of our planning, and how we cultivate our lists and how we grow our relationships with our sponsors.
Very, very well said. And the segmentation and especially the intentionality, they are so critical because if you're intentional, people will open the email. If you're not intentional, people won't open the email, or they'll say, you don't want to get, no, we can't attend this year. You'd rather get that than no, don't ever contact me again.
Yeah. And to avoid burnout, when we have these, we have these events that are, our signature events year over year, we offer like multi-year sponsorships or different ways to have increased visibility, or we in some cases have naming opportunities. So there are a lot of different ways to maintain those relationships and grow those relationships so that it's really, really impactful and meaningful.
Very, very, very well said. And, I want to we've kind of been talking about events, and Michelle, we'll start with you, and then Julie, I'd like for you to chime in, but talk about how a golf tournament is similar and different from the other types of events, that you do, whether it's, your fashion show or your the Evening with Legends that was last night, or any of the other kind of more seated types of events.
I mean, all of our events have a lot in common. All of those events have a lot in common. They require intense amounts of planning and logistics and engagement and coordination, fundraising. Of course, a golf tournament is just as much work as a gala, but it just feels more relaxed. It presents as more fun. And I really think the difference is the experience. At a golf tournament, you spend hours with your foursome and the foursome that's next to you, and you get to have a very relaxed engagement conversation. Galas are typically a little more buttoned up, seated, or very specifically driven program that's going to drive the evening. So I think it's the work that goes into them are both incredibly there's a ton of coordination, a ton of work that's going into all of these events. And it just is going to reflect on the donor experience. And for someone who plans golf tournaments, that's a huge commitment. That is not a 2-hour dinner. That is all day. That is, you're getting there at 8:00 in the morning. You're warming up. You're having breakfast. You're playing golf, and then you're having dinner, and you're there till 5:30, and you feel like you've had the most incredible, fun, relaxing day. And we also like to say that our golf tournaments are really not about golf. It's about the mission, and it's about the impact on our patients and our families and our community. And the secondary part is the golf. So I would say those are the ways that those two things are similar and different.
Very, very, very well said. Julia, do you have anything to chime in with that?
Absolutely. I'm an avid golfer, so I'm always like, it's a little bit about the golf, but I think one thing that we really try to do here at the hospital that Michelle just does so seamlessly in planning, especially these golf tournaments, is weaving in the mission when people don't even realize that they're learning about it. It is, you're on a golf hole and there might be a nurse there that just says, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your day, leaving your office, being here to help support Texas Children's. Those small moments of reminding those golfers, whether they're somebody that paid for a large corporate sponsorship or a guest of somebody knows why they are there and how those funds will make an impact, I think makes all of the difference. And I think just with the longevity of a golf event, you get that opportunity to have those intentional moments throughout the day more frequently. We've brought in patient families at the end of those to be able to show how those funds have made a specific impact from maybe a past year or from gathered funds over multiple years. And I think donors being able to see that of, yes, I had a blast today. I got a great meal and I had fun with my friends. And for our Bad Pants tournament here in Houston, got to wear a wild outfit and having a great opportunity and great time. But for them at the end of the day to say, I had that much fun and look what I was able to do for these babies and the moms and dads that are there, that might be one of the worst experiences of their child having to go to the NICU, and then learning that they're getting all of this support while an incredible hospital is helping their child. I think really just allows it kind of all to come to fruition.
Very well said. Now, I want to go back and I kind of want to do kind of like one follow up, and either of you feel free to chime in on this, because Michelle had mentioned, when you're with, a foursome, you're with them all day long and the foursome next to them. So how do you make sure that you're creating foursomes? And we've all been in these rooms and you've been in those rooms where certain people should not be in the group in front, the group behind. So please, any advice you can give would be amazing.
Absolutely. I think one thing that we've done in the past is making sure that we know that there are cart requests. So if people send in 4 names, it's like we might have those 4, but 2 people might need to be together for a business reason. Or when we're sending those out, it is saying, what carts do you want together? How would you like that foursome paired? And then beyond that, people, if your lead sponsors are getting 4 foursomes, ensuring that they are together, especially if you're doing a scramble and you've got an A position and a B position on a hole, ensuring that the way that they flow will stack all of their people up. And then we tend to make sure that competitors are not too close to each other. We want to make sure that we've got a lot of research goes into it. Our philanthropy office has some wonderful people on the research side that can say, oh my gosh, we got this name in and this name. They actually sit on a board together, or they might have been colleagues in the past. Let's see if we can make a connection there where they can say, oh, actually, our mutual thing is not just X board. We both love Texas Children's Hospital together too. So being able to create any of those additional bonds while we're out there is, absolute gold for us. So if they can create a memory, create a bond while they're at one of our events and benefit Texas Children's, what an incredible outcome for everyone.
I'm so glad you mentioned the dot connecting element of that, because it's a really easy way to elevate your event. And it takes some research, but it's not back-breaking, mind-grueling work to do. And I think people think it is, but with everything on LinkedIn profiles and on the internet and AI now, you can just literally put a person's name in. What boards is so-and-so on? And you get the list of that 6 boards that person's on. It's much easier now, I think, than people realize to get that information.
Absolutely. And I think there are times where we'll have, whether it's a physician or a hospital leader or nurses, as we had talked about, go out and try to talk to all of those foursomes, make sure that we're thanking them, maybe pull in that connection if they know it. If somebody belongs to a golf club and they'll say, oh, do you all know that you all are both members here if they haven't met before? So trying to make as many of those connections and really brief everybody as much as we can ahead of time too, so that anyone from our team, our staff, our leadership side really knows who's out there and be able to go up and thank them and engage them in a meaningful way and maybe give them more information about other things that are happening throughout the hospital.
Very, very well said. And Michelle, I want to, address, kind of going back to the event and the golf classic in particular, talk about, and you had mentioned this earlier in the program about how, you can't necessarily do what you do in Houston, what you do in Austin. So how are you taking the Legacy Community Classic, which is an enormously successful golf tournament in Houston, and giving it an Austin feel at Lions Municipal Golf Course?
Oh, sure. Well, uh, when we said we're going to do a golf tournament in Austin, a lot of the comments I received were like, oh, we're going to repeat the tournament that we do in Houston and we're just going to put it in Austin. And so when we were selecting a location to have the tournament in Austin, we started at different private clubs. And as we started to engage more with the community, we really found out about Lions Municipal, and we were really intrigued by the Save Muni efforts, and we thought that that was the perfect place to hold this tournament. It has an incredible vibe there. It's a beloved, treasured part of the city. So that was our first step, is picking Lions to host the tournament. We also were able to engage with a lot of the people who already support Lions to introduce ourselves. We have Ed Clements, who is a known Austin radio personality, who sits on the Muni board, who's going to be welcoming our guests and doing our morning announcements that day. We engage with local Austin vendors for our gifts, for our food, for all of the elements so it is an authentically Austin event. We try to lean into some of the more relaxed and fun, colorful, a little bit campy vibe that Muni has to offer. And it is a really, really incredible way for us to say, like, we're here in Austin and this is a very Austin tournament. We have small details, like all of our golfer awards are 20-inch ukuleles that are being decorated by our child life patients as a nod to Austin and music, and a nod to our child life programming, which this tournament goes to support. And we want people walking away thinking like, this is the Texas Children's Legacy Golf Classic, and it's Austin. It's authentically Austin.
Very, very well said. And I absolutely love the ukulele painted by the patients, because that really allows, because people often, a lot of organizations can struggle with, how do I tie my mission to two unique things throughout the event? And that's a unique way to do it, because every single person that ukulele is an award, it's going to be on a bookcase, probably in someone's office. They are going to remember that and remember why they have been giving to Texas Children. It's such a smart way to really integrate the mission in a fun, unique way, and that is a uniquely awesome way. So you're taking a baby guitar, basically, and you're and you're psychedelicing it out. And when Michelle said camp, we meant camp as in nature, not camp as in not camp as in Dynasty, the show from the '80s. So I wanted to make that clear for everybody listening, that that was the camp we were talking about. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about some of the things that people can expect at this year's Austin Legacy Community Golf Classic hosted by Texas Children's.
Sure. So, like I said, we'll have Ed Clements out there welcoming people in the morning. And we're really fortunate to have the team at Cisco's, who runs the cafe, out there. We'll be providing breakfast. We will have a lot of willing and cheerful volunteers to help people find where they need to go. They'll start the day playing golf. We will incorporate our mission into the day of golf. We like to include signage throughout the course that explains why we are fundraising for this year. It's for our Child Life program, so that they will walk away from the day having an incredible day of golf, but also learning that our Child Life program uses art and music and dance and play to help children understand their medical procedures, manage pain and anxiety, and how those outcomes, our outcomes, are improved when we look at the care that all of our service lines receive through our Child Life specialists. And the other thing is, Child Life is not a reimbursable expense. That is a program that is funded fully by the hospital and through philanthropy. And so we want people to walk away realizing the impact that they have made is significant. We will have wonderful Austin brands serving food and drinks. We will have an local Austin cover band playing music for our reception. And I think one of the most powerful moments is we will have our patient family. Emily Papermaster will talk about her daughter Eva's journey from not getting answers to coming to Texas Children's and how that changed their lives. And how, as a patient who is receiving endocrine care, she is really exposed to a lot of needles and scans and things that can be overwhelming and scary for a 6-year-old, and how the Child Life team has prepared her and her family to move through that experience in a positive way.
Absolutely. Very well said. And, I know there's a reception afterwards. So I'm really, I'm excited for that piece, because if people aren't a fan of golf, then they can actually come out and they can engage after the tournament, which I think is a really wonderful thing as well.
Oh yeah, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to not only engage with people who are interested in coming out and engaging with us, but we want to be able to thank some of our sponsors and supporters who maybe can't play golf, some of, different people who want to come and learn and hear about us, who maybe only have a few hours. So the reception is always a great time for engagement, mingling, and sharing our story and our mission.
Well, it's going to be a super fun day. Julia, is there anything you want to add, or anything you in particular are looking forward to with this event in Austin as a Houstonian?
Oh my gosh, I think it's an incredible day out there. I think the Muni course will be fun for everybody to be out there with that rich history in Austin. And the Jukebox Heroes, the band that Michelle was talking about, is always a lot of fun. So looking forward to a great day, and really, celebrating the history of Austin and how Texas Children's is part of it, and leaving our legacy as it's named for. So I think it'll be a wonderful day for our Child Life program.
And I also would like to add that in our second year, we've had all of our Austin vendors and supporters returning to be part of this event. And that is just one piece of how we are really embracing the community and creating those relationships. And it's important for us to work with companies that are interested in our mission and supporting us and hold a standard that's high, like ours. And so that really has a tremendous impact on the fun and the flavor of the day.
Fun and flavor with the food. That perfect way to say that. And I know we're coming up on time, so I always like to end with a question like this. And we'll start with Julia, and Michelle, you can have the last word. And that is, what is one thing all successful fundraising events have in common?
I would say I might have to come up with two.
Go for it.
Passion and preparation. I would say the passion behind the mission, what you're doing, really pulling that all together. And then from the event planning side, as event planners sitting here, preparation. I mean, that the amount of details that need to go into things really do matter on the day of. Being prepared for plans A through D, whether it might be weather or things just not going as planned, and the surprises, a lot of which end up being wonderful, where it's a connection that you've made out there, and then it changes the course of your day for being able to highlight something that you weren't expecting. So I would say passion and preparation.
Very well said. And Michelle, you get the last word.
Okay, well, I would say that the mission, if your event can really have a strong connection to your mission, it will leave an impact on all of your guests, on all of your supporters, and the story that your event is telling. So I would agree with Julia on the preparation, the intentionality that goes into all of the work to put an event together. But I think connecting back to your mission is the one thing that all strong fundraisers have in common.
I love it. You all just gave kind of a 3-point plan as to how to do it. Prepare, make sure you have people that want to be there and are passionate about it, and make sure that the guests understand why they're there. And if you do all three of those things, you're going to have a successful event. And, it is clear, so clear to see why Texas Children's has so many wonderful fundraisers all throughout Texas, all throughout the year. So this has been a really, really fun segment for me. And Julie and Michelle, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it as much as as much as I have, and I hope you all come back again.
Rob, thank you so much for having us. This was so much fun to chat with you and to share a little bit more about the hospital and our golf and ambassadors programs.
Yes, really. Thank you. This was a lot of fun. It's great to meet you. Yes. And we hope to see you in Austin.
I hope to see you too. And the Texas Children's Hospital Legacy Golf Classic, benefiting Texas Children's Hospital, will be held on May 14th, 2026 at Lyons Municipal Golf Course in Austin, Texas. For more information, please visit texaschildrens.org/legacygolf. And for more information on the Texas Children's Hospital Ambassadors Program, please visit texaschildrens.org/ambassadors. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.